Before we start this video, a large thank you to Prakash, Caden1111, NZ, Gregory, Justin, Mikey, and Jeff for their support on Patreon. I hope you guys enjoy the video. And an immense thank you to Halo Burner and Aaron for their support on Patreon. It is greatly appreciated, and I hope you guys enjoy the video. Hello guys, welcome back. I just want to say that if you're watching this not on YouTube and you're paying for it, you have been scammed. With that being said, we're going to make it so we can actually use Facepunch now to connect to our friends in Steam. So go to the package manager and go here, and you can add through a get URL, put the URL in the description. If it doesn't work for you like me right now, for some reason it's not, honestly I have no idea why it's not working, you can actually just go to the URL right here, hit the code button, go down to the code green button and download as a zip. And I'll walk you through how to do that because that's how I'm going to do it right now because it's being difficult. So add a package from your hard drive, or disk, sorry. And wherever you have the package, just extract it. I have mine in a documents folder called Facepunch. Go to transports and make sure you click on the Facepunch transport here specifically. Double click that and then click package here and then it should install. Now, if for some reason you get through this and it doesn't work, please check your netcode for GameObjects version and your Facepunch version. Sometimes things happen and bugs will happen and you think it's actually you, but it could just be an interaction between the Facepunch and the netcode version you are using. So I'm going to remove the Unity transport here on our World Network Manager, and I'm going to add in the Facepunch transport. Don't remove it from the prefab in case you want to test. I'll explain more later. Drag in your Facepunch prefab or your Facepunch transport to the transport variable, and then your Steam app ID. We showed you how to get that in the last video. Just put whatever yours is right there. For now, I'm just going to use Nephilim's as I don't have a Steam app ID for this project. So now that that is there, we need to set up our calls for Facepunch. So we're going to go to the World Game Session Manager. That's a good place to put it, I believe. We're going to go here and say using netcode.transports.facepunch. We're going to say using, if you've paid for this, you've been scammed. I'm joking. Using Steamworks, using steamworks.data. I'm definitely forgetting some, so we're going to come back to this. Let me look at my Nephilim notes here. Yeah, okay. So come down here and make a header for active lobby. So we're going to make a public lobby, current lobby. And then we're going to come right below that. And we're going to make a private Facepunch transport called transport. And then we're going to go down to wake and get this by saying transport is equal to get component transport. All right, so you're going to want to keep the other transport there for testing. This is because you can't, to my knowledge, launch two versions of a Steam app on your computer and connect from a host and a client because you need two individual Steam accounts, and you can't run Steam twice on your computer without some program that lets you simulate another computer. So for that reason, I'm going to show you to quickly disable Facepunch and go back to Unity's transport if you just want to test locally on your PC with a host and client. Now, let's make private void on lobby created. We're going to make that require a result and a lobby. These are just going to be calls we're going to use basically when Facepunch does something. So when it creates a lobby, we're going to link it to this. So we're going to say called when a lobby is created here in the comment to keep it very clear. Private void on game lobby joined requested. So I believe this one's sent when you actually get a request to join a lobby. Just going to check my notes to make sure. Yes, okay. So the join lobby and then the Steam ID. And then we're going to say called when you enter a lobby. All right, cool. And then right below that, again, we're going to do a private IEnumerator attempt to join as a client. So when we're joining as a client, basically, we always have to start the game as a host if we're doing this like Elden Ring, because you go into your world, you're the host of your own world. Then you're going to want to leave and end your game as a host and start as a client. That's where that's going to be used. We'll come back to that in a moment. Now, public async void start game as host. Why do we need an async void? Well, we have to connect to Steam in a way after we start it. So we're going to do that asynchronously. I'll show you how in a moment. And then we're going to have public void start game as a client, which is just going to link back to that coroutine there. And we're going to need a Steam ID. Don't worry, this will all make sense when you see it all. You're just going to need to see the picture as a whole. Right now, it's just a lot of fragmentation. Just bear with me. And if you've done this before, you probably already know what I'm going to do. So start game as host. We're just going to have to come up here. I knew I was going to forget something. Using unity.netcode. So down here under start game as host, we're going to say network manager.singleton.start client, or sorry, .start host. If you've paid for this series, you've been scammed. We're going to say current lobby is equal to await Steam matchmaking .create lobby async. And then we're going to pass, this is the lobby number. So I'm just going to say 4. This is how many people you want to connect to your game. Now, if you want to go back to testing it with the host and client on PC, comment out this current lobby line so it will just start the host as it used to. And then basically you can start a client like you did before on the same PC and connect without having to use a Steam account, because Steam matchmaking is not enabled and you can just do that the way we were testing it before. So on lobby created, we're going to say for some reason if your result does not equal result.ok, pass a debug.log error message. This shouldn't happen, but just in case, you can get some information here. So I'm just going to copy and paste what I have from Nephilim here. So debug.log error, paste, lobby could not be created, and then pass the result, and this. And then we can simply return. So otherwise, the lobby is fine. We do some other things. We say lobby.setPublic. But we don't want to set the lobby to joinable yet, because we want to do that when you're in the world. So we only want to set this to joinable when you're actually in the world. So once you load the world scene, if you're the host, come back and set this lobby to joinable. Otherwise, like where you're going to join, you're in the main menu. There's nothing happening there. Just like Elden Ring, you can't join from the main menu. You have to be in the game world. So we're going to say lobby.setGameServer. We're going to pass lobby.owner.id. And that's pretty much it for onLobby created. Remember, we're creating the lobby as soon as we start the game as a host. So come here and say using Unity Engine.scene management to get the scene that we're in. And now when you enter a lobby, here we go. We're going to say if the scene manager.getActiveScene.buildInX is equal to 0. For me, this is my title screen. So if we're on the main menu and we're not in the world scene, we want to let the player know that if they're trying to join a game as a client, not as a host, don't allow it, because you want to send them a message saying, hey, pick a profile and go into your game world first, or maybe you don't want to send anything. Some games just don't tell you. You get invited, you accept it, nothing happens. It's up to you. I send a message on Nephilim, so we're going to say if the network manager is not the host and the network manager is not a client, I'm just going to put a debug here for now, debug.log. We are not allowed to join another game. We aren't a client or a host. Start the game first. So, if you get an invite when you haven't even started the network, that's where the press start screen comes in, where it says press any button to play. When you press that button, you're actually starting the network. So if you're not even on the network yet, go back. So you could send a UI pop-up here too, letting the player know, hey, you got to start the network before you try to join a game. I do that in Nephilim. I won't go through that in this video. Unless you want me to, please comment below. I will circle back. But I think like 99.99% of you guys are very capable of doing that in a way that you will be happy with. So I'm going to come down here now and say world save game manager.instance.save game. I'm just going to say before we do anything. That's always a good practice. And then we can actually basically join the lobby. So I'm going to say network manager.singleton.shutdown. And then we are going to come down here and say debug.log attempting to join game. We can pass the lobby ID and the Steam ID if you want, just to see it in your console. Then we say current lobby equals join lobby. And then we can say current lobby ?join. The question mark means if this is not null, basically join it. So when you join a lobby, obviously things will happen then. So let's go right below that now. And I actually forgot one, to no one's surprise. Private void on lobby entered. Lobby, we pass the lobby. And now we're going to say if network manager.singleton.isHost return. Do nothing. Basically, if you join your own lobby and you're the host, then don't worry about it. Otherwise, you've joined another person's lobby and you were the host. We're going to say start game as client. We're going to pass the lobby owner and then the .id. So we do this because remember, if you join another person, you have to be in the world, which means you're the host of your own world right now. So we have to end that world and then join as a client. What do? Well, in start game as client, we check if we're dead optionally, and if we're dead, you don't let the player do anything. You can send them a pop-up. In Nephilim, I just simply say, please wait till you revive until you join a world. Let's go up here and make a private coroutine variable called joining as client coroutine. Okay. Now down here, we're going to say if joining as client coroutine does not equal null, stop the coroutine. Why? You don't actually want to run this twice. We're going to say joining client coroutine is equal to start coroutine attempt to join as client, and we pass the lobby, or rather the Steam ID. Now, under here, under attempt to join as client, we're simply going to do a check here. Optionally, you could activate a loading screen if you want to until they join, because if you have a bigger world, it's going to take a moment. If you have a small testing, it's quite simple. So again, we have a loading screen. If you guys want to activate it, do that right here. It's entirely up to you. And then we're going to say while transport.target Steam ID does not equal ID, we're going to make sure that it does. Now, you could just set it, but I found sometimes, for some reason, if you set it, it kind of becomes unlinked. So I just pass it here in a coroutine and do yield return null. I think this might have been a weird version of netcode, though, so this might not even be an issue anymore. But I had to do this in the past, so I'm going to do it right now for you guys just to make sure that it works. If somebody has just set it and said that it works, you can confirm down below. Very cool. Then we're going to say network manager.singleton start client. And then because our Steam ID is set to the ID, we're basically just going to join their world. And that's pretty much it, outside of having to set up our calls and also do a public void on disconnected from the lobby, or rather disconnect from lobby. We want to disconnect from lobby whenever we close out the application. So we just say current lobby dot leave. We put the question mark there as if it's not null, and then we're good to go. All right, now we can go to the press start button, which we made eons ago. It actually serves a purpose. It's not just there for nothing. You can see we start the network as a host here now. Well, let's go to that function, and let's replace what we have here with our new function. So world game session manager.instance start game as host. All right, very cool. Let's save that. Apologies if you hear background noise. My girlfriend is shredding some tape or something. Now let's make on application quit. And now we're going to call disconnect from lobby here on the World Game Session Manager. And we can call start here. I don't think we can call do not destroy on low because I'm pretty sure the network transport handles that. But I'm just going to call anyway in case you have this on a separate game object for some reason. Probably should have in the past. Whoops. We're going to pass the game object. Then we're going to say Steam matchmaking dot on lobby created. We're going to say dot on lobby entered plus equals. We pass our on lobby entered. It's at this point I like to say that if you've paid for this series, you've been scammed. So we're going to say Steam matchmaking dot on lobby created plus equals on lobby created. And then we're going to come down here and say Steam matchmaking dot on game lobby created. Or sorry, wrong call. We're not supposed to use Steam matchmaking. We're supposed to use Steam friends for this one. Steam friends dot on game lobby join requested plus equals, and we pass our on game lobby join requested. All right, let's not forget to unsubscribe from these events. So let's do that on destroy and just copy and paste them and do the minus equals. There we go. Very good. And then down here, let's save that. Let's go over now into our player manager because we're quickly going to do a couple of things. So on client connected, right below that, let's make a coroutine for emerge at most recent site of grace. So you could set pre-spawn points in your world for your phantom or check a nav mesh point close to your player, but this one is the safest bet because your nav mesh point could be inside some weird geo or something. So what I'm going to do is on client connected, if you're not the server but are the owner, start this coroutine, emerge at most recent site of grace, and then we're going to find the host player, and we're going to say the host player is equal null. We'll make a local variable, and we're going to say while that host player is null, we're going to do a search, and we're going to search through all of the players currently in our game. And if you remember, we actually conveniently keep a list of all the players in our game on our World Game Session Manager, like so. So we're going to do a for loop for this. We're going to go through that whole list of players, and we're just going to simply check if they're the host by saying if, let me go through the specific player in the list, I dot character group is equal to character group dot host. That's not it. I'm sorry, this is not Nephilim. I'm looking at the notes too closely. We can just simply check for is host. That's my bad. This is much more simple too. Don't know why I didn't do this in Nephilim, to be honest. I'm sure I had a reason for it. So host player is equal to the World Game Session Manager instance players I. There you go. Now, we have no way of knowing how this host player, what site of grace they used last. Also, don't forget to add your yield return null here in the while loop. So let's make a way for our player to actually know which site of grace they used last. What we're going to do is go up here, and we're going to say header, copy network variable, site of grace, and then we can make a public network variable for defaultly at 0, because remember our site of grace IDs are ints, last site of grace used. And then we can just pass this variable from the host and teleport to the site of grace by saying world object manager instance sites of grace. We pass the host player player network manager host last site of grace visit value, and we say teleport to site of grace. Excellent. Now currently we have no way of knowing what the last site of grace was. It will always be 0. So go over to your site of grace interactable, and then if you are the host, just update that network variable whenever you interact with it. You might want to check too if you're the host for saving it in your current character data, but I don't think you can interact with this as a cooperative player anyway, but I am going to do the check regardless. So we're going to say player network manager last site of grace use.value is equal to site of grace ID, and we'll check for if is host. Now this will give any client who connects to you the ability to see your last site of grace, and if it hasn't been interacted, it'll default to the first one, which is 0, so you always have a site of grace to go to. Now back on the World Game Session Manager, let's make a toggle lobby is joinable function to actually set it so we can join the lobby when we enter the world. Pass a bool status, as in is this lobby joinable, and we can say current lobby .set joinable, and we pass the status. Now let's go right above that and make an onEnable and onDisable function. Why am I doing this? Well, this is where we're going to check when the scene changes. You can do this on any script that's going to be basically consistent throughout your whole game without being deleted. So we can do a scene manager.sceneLoaded plus equals hit tab twice to create a function automatically. And it should create one with 2 variables, one for arg0 and arg1. I'm going to rename the function to scene, or rather on scene loaded. And I'm going to change the variables to something a little bit less esoteric. So make sure you unsubscribe from that event on disable and subscribe on enable. And then I'm going to change scene from arg0 to the new scene that is being loaded, and load scene mode from arg1 to load mode. Now all we have to do here is check for our UI scene. This is if you're setting up like me. Obviously you can check for whatever scene you want, but if I'm on the UI title screen, I don't want the lobby to be joinable, so I'm just going to say if the build index does not equal 0, because 0 is my title screen, then I know my lobby is joinable. Otherwise, it's going to be not joinable. Again, you might set this up a little bit differently for me, but my build index being 0 is my title screen. I do not want to allow someone to join the lobby in the title screen. So if we're not on build index 0, I know that I am good to go. I'll make a comment here so that's very clear. If we aren't on the menu, you want to allow other people to join our lobby. That's a bad comment. We're going to say allow others to join our lobby. All right, let's save that again. And remember, if you're watching this on anywhere but YouTube and you happen to pay for it, you have been scammed. So I'm going to go back and revert my Unity transport and drag it in, just like so, because I don't have a Steam app ID for this project. And I'm going to test our new logic by commenting out the current lobby, so we're not creating an async lobby, and saving it. And then remember, you want to start your second client with a different port, otherwise it's going to complain. Start your host, and then go down to your second client and stop the host, put back in your original port that the host is on, and then start as a client. And then boom, yes, I do teleport to the site of grace. If I look over here on my camera, you can see there's the host player. And if I go back to the host there, I'm just going to minimize here. There you can see I am the client right there as well. So guys, a couple notes. I did not have another Steam app ID to test this on, so I have just taken all the code straight from Nephilim. So if something doesn't work, please let me know and I will make an immediate correction to the video, but this should work. Again, if you're having any problems, like I spent 6 hours one day debugging after a netcode update, only to realize that when netcode changed, Facepunch needed to change, so there was an update that I required there as well. Just make sure you're using a current version of Facepunch and netcode, or one that works well with another version. And if you're using netcode 2.2 and you're using additive scenes, there was, at least, I'm not sure if it's been fixed yet, I reported it, but there was a bug that will break your online interaction. Okay, so again, if you guys have any problems, right now with everything set up the way it is, you should be able to both launch a game on your end, have your friend or your tester launch on their end, go into the world and invite them, they should pop up in your world. If there are any problems, please let me know. This code is ripped straight from Nephilim. It's what I use all the time. I'm constantly doing co-op runs and test runs on it, and I've had no issues. With that being said, thank you very much again for joining me. I sincerely hope you all have a very lovely weekend. If you have any questions, at me in the Discord or hit me up in the comments below. Thank you so much, my patrons. It is because of each and every one of you the series can continue, and I appreciate you all. Thank you to the people who take the time to like and comment and pass around the video. You have my sincerest gratitude. Okay, at this point, I am rambling. Remember, if you pay for this and it's not on YouTube, you've been scammed. Have a lovely weekend. See y'all next week.